We want to get his views about the other events of today. You heard David Miliband's speech this morning during the Foreign Affairs debate, particularly his comments on Palestine this morning. Do you think they went far enough?
Well, let's start with what happened in this room tonight. I heard the leader of my party and the next Prime Minister of this country say he wanted to speak for the Palestinian people. And I think that's something I waited a long time to hear. And I think he's sincere in that. I think he means that. Ismail Patel heard him say he wants to speak for British values, and heard that as speaking for the people who are suffering in the Middle East, the people who are oppressed in the Middle East, the people who are occupied in the Middle East, the underdog. And I hope those are British values, and I think we've waited a little bit too long. And I make that criticism of my own party as well as of other parties in this country in saying that. And so I was very, very pleased to hear David Miliband say, and David Miliband had a good record as Foreign Secretary. He moved us on from the terrible attitude that the government took over the invasion of Lebanon. He moved us on to working for the ceasefire as quickly as possible in Castlead. But we just needed to go further. And I feel in my bones, and one of the reasons I was the third MP, I think, to come out for David Miliband, is that he gets it, he understands that you have to have a foreign policy that isn't based on what other people tell you to do, that isn't based on what you think is somehow in some sort of side interest. It's based on what you think is the right thing for your country to do. And the right thing for us to do is to stand up for the Palestinian people and to ensure that they have a viable state and a workable state, and that the nonsenses that we're hearing at the moment about settlements and about what blockade is simply cut through with a knife. We're not talking about things happening at the margins, whether a freeze that is not a freeze continues, whether a blockade is slightly eased. We are talking about a fundamental change, and the only way that that is going to happen is by pressure being put by governments like the British government, and I hope we heard the start of that tonight.